So hi there and welcome back to Larinas Labyrinth, or welcome to if you haven't been here before. Last week we took a look at emotional intelligence, which is part one of this series. If you haven't seen it already, I do recommend that you do so. So we looked at what emotional intelligence means and how it's become very popular and why it's a desirable characteristic for employers at this point in time. We're going to start exploring the subject of Find Your Tribe by revisiting the content last week, and next week we'll start unpacking things like emotions. This week, as I said, we're going to look at Find Your Tribe because I think it's going to go some way to explaining feelings of isolation that some people experience, and for people who have experienced bullying and exclusion by others. It's not that there's anything wrong with you, okay? You just haven't found your tribe yet, is where we're going. As I said, though, before we kick off, I do want to address any potential issues around the name of this video, because I saw that apparently there's a sensitivity to the use of the word tribe by some people who believe that it shouldn't be used by anybody except Indigenous groups. So with respect, I'd like to point out to you that in my culture, and I've looked up the meaning of tribe, and it says in the dictionary, it's a social group made up of many families, clans, generations that share the same language, customs and beliefs. So this video has been constructed as per my own social and cultural demographic, and it's aimed at people that share the same values and beliefs. If you find the name of the video offensive, then this content is not going to be for you. So I thank you for respecting my values. So last week we looked at, as part of this series, emotional intelligence, or what is also called emotional quotient, which of course, just bringing it down, the abbreviations is EI and EQ. So when we finished that video, I made the very cynical observation that EI is not necessarily everything, although it's clearly a very desirable quality. And I said that I would expand on my rationale for this week, because what I had observed in the literature and that kind of thing was that universities were professing that when we teach people the skills of EI, it adds a layer of protection for them against workplace bullying. And I believe, of course, this is an ambitious claim. It's certainly, I do agree, a very good thing for people to do as part of their personal and professional development. But in my experience, you can actually do all the training in the world, but if you're in the wrong tribe, then it actually doesn't protect you against bullying, I don't believe. It might have some layers of it, but I think it depends on the circumstance. But we're going to talk about tribes later. At the moment, we're just going to do a recap on what is EI and EQ. So if you recall, it's basically all about understanding your emotions, how we perceive them, how we feel them, how we interpret our emotions, and how we demonstrate control and regulate our emotions, and how we evaluate them. You know, are we using the correct, appropriate emotional response or reaction within any given situation, and how can we use those emotions in practical ways to support us to achieve our goals. And that includes building positive relationships with people. So we're talking about understanding our emotions, understanding ourselves, and managing our own responses. We're talking about self-awareness at essence. So people with high EI understand the importance of emotions. They respect them. Our feelings are our messengers, of course, and this includes the unpleasant emotions. They provide an abundance of information to us to help us to resolve internal and external conflicts so that we can live in greater harmony and peace. And we do that by obviously unpacking, pulling apart the emotions and applying that to how we interact with those people around us, whether it's a social setting or whether it's a workplace setting or whether it's even your family. So just recapping that people, all of us, humanity, we're hardwired to connect with others. And if we've got high EI, then with this self-awareness and understanding, then we have a greater level of self-respect. We put a greater value on us. Because we value ourselves and we respect ourselves, we're able to build better relationships with people, have healthier boundaries, all of this kind of thing. And People with high EI tend to have better business and financial success, and consequently, that combined with the healthy relationships accommodates greater happiness in a person's life. So when it comes to finding our tribe, if we're looking to find a tribe of high EI people, these are going to be the qualities that we're looking for in a friendship or a business associate, and these will be the qualities that we aspire to as individuals, just as part of personal and, excellence, striving for personal excellence. I'm going to leave you to have a look at this slide yourself without me talking too far to it. You can just press pause if you want to read it. So it'd be easy for us to take a look at that previous slide and go, okay, yep, no worries, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do that. I'm going to be an emotionally intelligent person, and that's that, okay? But the bottom line is EI is largely reliant on skills and the development of skills. We will talk about this at some point in the future on how we can develop these. But obviously communication is a primary point. Verbal communication, as I struggle with my words, non-verbal communication cues. Written communication is obviously difficult for many people these days when everything's done in SMS. It's very easy to misinterpret something that's in the written word, so that requires a real skill set. And then there becomes conflict management skills as well. Now, thank God there is plenty of literature out there. If you can't afford to go to training or to get somebody to coach you, you can at least look into this stuff and find resources yourself. I am putting some links, or I did put links into last week's video that was focused directly on EI. And this week I'll put in some sources as well for Find Your Tribe. So when it comes to establishing just how effective we are, because we can measure ourselves, there is tests online. The questions to really ask ourselves, or if you're supporting other people, is how self-aware are they? How motivated they are? What drives them? Do they have empathy? Are they team players, or are they, a sole worker? Do they communicate well, and do they manage their emotions well? Are they able to make good decisions even if they're upset? Do they seek attention? I said decision making, so there you go, that's back there twice. I've kept this slide in, sorry, big intake pause as I have a think about this. I've kept this slide in simply because I think it's a really good reminder for us on what we can do within our daily life to demonstrate and increase our EI. Once again, I'm not going to spend a lot of time on the slide. I'll let you take a look at it and ask yourself these questions. Well, if somebody criticizes me and tells me I don't do something well, what do I do? How do I respond to that? Do I turn around and go into instant denial and go, well, that's not true, you made a mistake? Or do I actually acknowledge it and go, do you think so? What did I do wrong? Or actually, now that you pointed out to me, I am wrong. And if you are wrong, do you take responsibility for your actions, or do you like to sweep it under the carpet and pretend that it never happened? So, there is that. I made a mistake. I take responsibility for it. I make endeavours to fix the problem, and then I accept that it was a mistake and I move on. Do I have healthy boundaries? Now, reminder here, I've put up a video on how to implement boundaries and where you can find information. Am I comfortable expressing my feelings? I said I wasn't going to go over this, but here I am. But anyway, these are all skills that can be developed. It's a matter of finding the relevant information and applying those skills and strategy to your life. But that's where self-awareness comes in, because you've got to be able to recognize when you might be doing X or Y and how you might be able to do it better. So before we take a look at the Find My Tribe, the first things that we need to do, there's a couple of steps, is take a look at what are our tribes currently, and we will have tribes, all of us. We may not live in exactly the same place. A tribe, of course, is a family unit. They're groups of people. So what tribes am I part of? You might say, well, my family, my workplace. Am I working as part of a team? Even if you're working at home, you're going to have an employer, you're linked to other people. Do I have social groups, sporting groups, this kind of thing? What tribes am I part of? That's the first question. How do my tribes influence me? This is the people that are in these groups. Are they positive and uplifting, or do they bring you down emotionally? How do they influence you? Do they help you to become the best version of yourself, right? And then how do I impact on my tribes? Do I build them up or do I drag them down? Do I feel included or listened to, or how do I feel about them? Do I feel that I'm somehow superior to these people that are in my group? And not only that, are there tribes that I want to be in and that I'm not in yet? That could be, have I been looking at doing a new hobby group or something like that? It could be I want to go and join a meditation group. Let's just use that one. But what kind of meditation group do I want to go to? You know what I mean? What tribes do I want to be in? So these are the first things to ask. So this is where it really, I believe, gets interesting with Find Your Tribe, okay? Because regardless of the group that you're in, so let's actually use meditation groups, for example, okay? There's going to be any number of them out there that you could join. And the reality is, until you actually attend them, you can narrow it down and go, okay, no, I don't want to be doing the spiritual stuff. I'm not interested in X and Y. I just want to go along to a mindfulness group, not a full-blown meditation one, right? But whatever group you decide to go to, when you get there, it might take a couple of visits to establish the overall ethos of the tribe, okay? Because you've got individuals getting together as a group. Now, David Logan is an author, and he's identified, and I'll go through it here, 5 main types of tribes according to the attitudes of their membership. So this is a really good decision. There's the people that say, my life sucks, or actually, beg your pardon, we'll start with life sucks. And these are the type of people that basically have reached rock bottom, and they think that life sucks in general. It's very hopeless, it's downtrodden. They don't see a hope of any change, and they're just going through the motions of life. And they're very, very unmotivated. Accordingly, this is apparently the lowest level of the tribe, and it's referred to as despairing hostility, and it is often found in gangs and prisons. The people or the membership of these tribes tend to be, or of this particular tribe, they tend to be detached from society, and most of us don't really interact with them on a day-to-day basis. So people in stage 1 tend to believe that they need to show violence or hatred as part of achieving success. The mighty will win, or whatever. What are some of those sayings? Let me think on it for a sec. Basically, it's a rule by might or rule by the gun, live by the gun, die by the gun, that kind of mentality. They're not a functional group because obviously the environment is too hostile, and clearly the members of the team are actually not valued. Often these people are shouting over the top of each other. So if we're talking about in a work environment or even a family environment, these are the kind of people where they get together and they scream and yell at each other, and good luck trying to get it sorted out. Okay, the second group is my life sucks, right? These people have got a little bit more hope in their lives. In my experience, they tend to internalize it. Let me just think on this one a little more. Okay, their prevailing attitude is one that nobody listens to me, they don't take my suggestions seriously, nothing's ever going to change, management's a bunch of idiots, this idea will pass, here we go again, here's another dumb idea, right? And apparently 25% of workplaces are based on a team membership of my life sucks, right? And apathy is the principal characteristic in this stage, where people avoid responsibility so that it's always someone else's fault, and that they are this perpetual victim within the group membership. Now, we can actually see this with people's attitudes just in a course of conversation, actually. I don't know how many times I've heard people where you're talking to them and you say, oh, there's a promotion coming up. Do you think you'll be applying for that? And they turn around and they go, good God, no. I just want to fly under the radar. So in essence, the people or the team membership of a stage 2, they don't become very successful because they have very little initiative and they're resigned to their fate, and they're not looking for ways to become more involved in the team or to become better than they are, or they're not striving for personal excellence, and really they're not really an active team member either because they're just going through the motions. So it's apathy. The next team, of course, or the next tribe is I'm great, but you're not. Within the workplace, this is a real hazard apparently, because it's where you get smart people vying and elbowing and pushing to get to the top of the food chain, if you like. And quite often they will come in, because... Okay, so I learned about this many years ago because I was doing contract labour work, and it was you go into an existing workplace, and if you're the newbie, you keep your ideas to yourself because you've basically got to watch. But these people that will come into a workplace and believe that they've got ideas to improve it, they kind of send the message that, well, I'm great, but you guys never figured this out, because I can do this better than you and I can show you the best way to do it. So immediately that kind of attitude puts people on the outside. It's a very competitive stage as well. And these types of people, they tend to be lone warriors. They do work within a team, but their primary focus is they do what they want or what it takes to get recognised within the group, because they want to be the best of the group. And they can be so competitive that they try to take things over, and it can be very offensive to people. And unfortunately, this can be their downfall, because they might be ready to do all the work necessary to get the team objectives, but the team isn't very productive because the team members don't cooperate, because they're somewhat alienated. And until this I'm great but you're not person power shares, then it's going to be difficult to create a coherent team result. Okay, so I'm just trying to think what else I could put in here. This is actually the area, as I said, I'm going to reiterate, this is where apparently a lot of teams in the workplace get really stuck and bogged down on, and it becomes very difficult to shift them from this individualistic mentality and attitude into the next stage of being a really valuable team member. So the level 4 is at least the desirable quality. 5 obviously is going to be the magical one, but we want to get people as a team at least through to the whole lot of we're great. I would actually question if as society that we're all globally perhaps working on a 2 to 3 as a socio-culture, at least within the democratic nations, the US, the UK. Nobody listens to me, it's not my fault, I'm picked upon, whatever, it's not my fault. True. Actually, a lot of the time it's not, it's our leaders, but we get to vote them. Okay, on to the next one. The 4th tribe of we're great. So just to reiterate here, finding your tribe means finding the people with the attitudes that relate and resonate to you as well. Okay, so as I mentioned, the biggest challenge is to move teams from level 3 to level 4. And if you are a leader, so we're now talking about leadership qualities, the secret is to find something that will actually bring the tribe together that is greater than each person's individual competence. So it's a matter of the teams coming together to find something that unites them. And when they can do that, when they've got that shared interest, then they can do really important things. The group actually clicks, and it really becomes that saying of there's no I in the letter team. It's a we. There's no me, it's we. And the tribe can change from a group of really highly motivated but egocentric people to a very productive team and achieve some really good things. So when we look to do this, of course, you've got to explore the personal values of each team member, and you've got to be able to connect the values to the actual work and the project and the purpose of the project, okay? The final stage, as I said, is life is great, and this is when the whole team is really happy. Everybody works together. They all value each other. They've got common shared values. Common adversaries will unite the members. And the team success is probably more highly valued than individual successes because the team members collaborate. Basically, yes, the attitude of the life is great people is we're great and our opponents are. Oh, sorry, goodness me. No, that's not right. Sorry, I glanced wrong. I'm going to pause this here. I'm just going to come back to this because I realised I've put a note in the wrong section here, and of course I do refer to my notes, but this is actually important for the Team 4 people, which I started to say, we're great and our opponents aren't, okay? That is true. They are productive and successful because members are committed to the team, and the members of the team, because they are united, they will actually address people that step out of line. So if somebody becomes self-focused or selfish, because you've got this common core, they will actually pull the selfish person up. And I would say that based on the information and knowledge that we're talking about here today, that if it's a team 4 or tribe 4, with an emotionally intelligent person who has a lapse, because we are human and they might start becoming a bit selfish, get out of line. The point is the rest of the team members will pull them up and go, you know what, you're out of line, okay? And that person will turn around and go, actually, I stand corrected, thank you very much, okay? And modify and address their ways. So anyway, these are the 5 types of tribes. So basically where we're going with this as well, I've just given you the 5 groups based on attitude. Now, what is an interesting factor here is that you will probably look at that if you've got any self-awareness at all and you're in that group of my life sucks, no talk, just all action. You know, somebody said something and annoyed me and upset me, so I go and punch in the mouth, right? If that's your group, you'll probably be looking at this now and thinking, oh, I don't like being on the lowest bastion of emotional intelligence. And I might want to find new ways to at least get myself up to not life sucks, my life sucks. But, you know, obviously I really think that most people would be aspiring at least to get to level 3, if not level 4 and 5. But what the research has shown is that people, if they're looking to improve, or actually even if they're not, okay, from a management level, if you're working with your groups of people and your teams, this is probably where that managerial hierarchy comes into play, because people apparently will only move from one tribe layer to the next one if somebody from the next level up tries to pull them up. So if you're my life's great, yay, I'm number 5, and you go into the area and space of a whole group of people that are level 1 with life sucks, okay, that's not going to be received. The people aren't going to receive your messages. And I think this is very obvious in a workplace where you've got very bad managers who are completely insensitive to their employee and staff needs. And I'm thinking of a particular organisation, which I'll come back to at the end of the day. They had absolutely no respect for their staff. They underpaid them, exploited their labour, and dehumanised them. And their whole employee base was one of, we're just a turning number. You know, you don't play the game, you don't do it their way, you're out the door quickly. And they'll trump up charges if you don't play the game their way. They'll make your life so hell you'll either resign or they will fabricate a case against you, and you'll get the sack, unfair dismissal, we would call it here in Australia. Now, while there are workers' rights here in Australia, I say theoretically, for some reason it seems very difficult to actually get the laws in place to protect the employees. But either way, where I'm going with this is when you have got a whole pool of employees who might at home be thinking, well, my life's okay, I'm fine. But when they go into work, their whole attitude is within the workplace, life sucks. And then you've got the management who are as happy as, pigs in a trough, because they're obviously fleecing and exploiting all the funding that comes into the organisation, dripping in diamonds and driving their sports cars while making their employees have to do 2 jobs to survive. And they come in and they're like, you know what you all need to do? You need to think positive, right? Well, I'm pretty sure the Life Sucks group is looking at them, might not say it, but they'll all be thinking, and you know what you need to do? I think you need to just flit off into the sunset, okay? But if they are working, so let's say that the level 5 in that context I just gave you was actually the CEO, right? The level 1s will be thinking, yeah, go fly a kite. But if they have a good team leader, right, they can still work within that organisation if they have a good team worker who basically is the next level up that says, yeah, look, not all of life sucks. There is some good aspects here. And they can then work them up to going, you know what, actually there is positive here, there's hope, that kind of stuff. Well, then the my life sucks people, or life sucks in general people, will start to change their attitude. There becomes a shift. So at the end of the day, though, the team leader of my life sucks is not going to be able to bring them up to the 3rd stage. That becomes stepping stones, if you like. So that's just worth considering. So before you start looking for your tribe, or to create new tribes, or to upscale yourself into a new one, it's important to actually have that self-awareness and understanding of who and what you are, and that helps you to have reasonable expectations upon any new friends that are entering into your field. At this point in time as well, don't forget there's the friendship circles and the boundary strategies as well to fall back on, because whenever we meet new people, of course, we've got that matter of trust. But anyway, McCabe says, and as I said, her details are in the link or are linked in the description of the video. But she says there's 3 types of personalities as far as friendship goes. She doesn't put them in this order, but I did. And basically, she says samplers are the type of people that don't really do crowds. They tend to have one-on-one friendships as opposed to friendship groups. And their friends, I think the key factor with this is their friends don't actually know each other. They're all very separate. And so basically the person, so in this graphic, we've got you in the middle, and she's got a friend that is an advisor, an intellectual, might offer prompts, when they're talking, turn around and say, well, have you thought about doing this with your money? What about this? These are your attributes. This is a good friend. These are your attributes. I've observed this about you. You would actually make a really good teacher, or you would X or Y. So they have an analytical aspect to their mind, and they add value to our life through promoting thinking outside the box a little bit, I guess. Then, of course, we all have that friend that is probably more healthy than the rest of us, or at least they have a focus on health and healthy eating. Sorry, I've got a bit of a cough happening there. For example, the first person that I think of with this is, I've got a friend that she's become a vegetarian because she's decided to cut meat out of her diet, but she's also into things like kinesiology and this kind of stuff. So when you have a chat with her and you might mention X or Y, she'll go, oh, you might benefit from this or that. She's into, Bach flower remedies, I think is what it's called as well. So she will actually make references to certain things that are helpful within the physical life. For me, actually, I guess essential oils falls into that, or aromatherapy and that. So you've got one friend that offers a lot there, and you can interact with them because you've actually got shared experience. You've probably got an example of this might be they're having a conversation. The person goes, oh, I've been really stressed and uptight. And the person goes, oh, have you been using your lavender oil? Because that's really good for that. And the person goes, yes, I've tried that. Oh, okay. So you know what? Maybe based on what you're saying, you might need to use lavender with rose geranium, just simple like that in your I just thought, just in case people are listening to this, in your aromatherapy distiller, okay?